him off, Mash bursts through the door, hitting one of the officers and blowing him away. But Brad laughs at him, thinking that he has no chance because he can't use magic. He attacks Mash with the spell he used to drive away a dragon, but Mash easily deflects it with one hand, and Brad can't believe his eyes. He takes his father's wand, while Brad defends himself with a barrier, thinking Mash is about to use magic. But Mash throws the wand at Brad, breaking his barrier and causing him to fall to his knees. Mash threatens to kill him the next time he threatens his family.
New pain, that's a quarter of profit. I'm strapping in the longest. But a new bag makes a new mission. New pad, so I trap in a new kitchen. Sawing the do glisten.
What's up, gang? Hold the fuck up. Hold. I got something for you, man. This jump right here is called One Punch Man. The truth. You know what I'm saying? It's basically like that. It's basically like One Punch Man. The truth. So this is called. I don't even know what this is. It's called the next time. I'm gonna let you know something about. This movie is called some extraordinary shit. But this is basically like a One Punch Man movie with this cool ass character named Mash. Mash is so fucking cool, bro. Like, I ain't gonna lie. What the fuck? Drinking. What are you talking about? I don't know, yo. He was just in the first day. Look it. Yeah. Alright. This show is lit, bro. Mash is like One Punch Man and Harry Potter. Imagine Mash is like One Punch Man in Harry Potter. So in Harry Potter, you got niggas that is supposed to, that has magical powers. And Punch Man, you got the nigga who's been working on it. He's got super strong, we're gonna break it down. So that's literally what this movie is. If I find another detail to add to that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started.
In a world where everyone uses magic in their daily lives, we see a ridiculously strong boy in the forest. His name is Mash, and his existence defies the natural order in the world. He lives in a hut with his father Burndead, where they enjoy their lives in isolation. When Mash goes home, he ends up breaking the door, forgetting if it was a push or pull. This makes Burndead upset, but Mash apologizes, promising to fix it. He tries to put it back, but he just pounds it against the door frame, making the damage even worse. After that, they have tea together, and we learn that Mash is different from other people, because he can't use magic, so Burndead has been trying to make his body stronger to make up for it. But Mash doesn't know this, so he continues to wonder why his training is purely physical. Burndead heads out, but warns Mash not to venture into the city while he's gone, but after his father leaves, he immediately runs to the city wearing a cloak, wanting to try a limited edition cream puff from the bakery. He walks around the city, where he sees the people using magic, but he thinks that it's nothing special, because the things they do with magic can also be done with their hands. Mash reaches the bakery and becomes excited, ordering some cream puffs. But as he pays, all the coins are bent, because he had clenched his fist when he had gotten too excited. But the baker thinks that the coins shouldn't be bent so easily. Mash fixes them up, straightening them to their original form, and the baker freaks out. After a while, Mash gets his food, but the winds blow, revealing his face to the public, and everyone is surprised because he doesn't have any marks on his face. Meanwhile, we see an officer named Brad at the police station. He reads a newspaper about this year's Divine Visionary, a title given to the top student of the Magic Academy, which also comes with a number of promotions and rewards. The phone rings, and he is informed about a man walking around the city with no mark on his face. As Mash walks around the streets, he wonders why everyone is staring at him, but he just eats his cream puffs. He bumps into a drunk officer named Terry, messing up his uniform with some of the cream and making him upset. Terry knocks the food off his hands as he continues to run his mouth. Mash rips off the officer's uniform, but he actually has good intentions, telling Terry that he will wash it up for him. At that moment, Brad arrives, asking Terry why he's naked. He looks at Mash, thinking that he is the man mentioned in the report, so he approaches him, but Bernadette arrives, grabbing his son and running away, while Brad summons a magical bird to go after them. When they return home, Bernadette scolds his son for going into the city despite his warning. Bernadette forgives him in the end, but he punishes Mash by making him repeat his workout routine. As Mash leaves the house to train, Bernadette thinks that Mash is actually a good kid, and he can't blame him for wanting to go to the city, because he has spent his entire life hiding in the forest. Bernadette thinks about how to deal with the police when he sees Brad's bird watching him from his window. Brad suddenly arrives with his men, asking Bernadette where his son is. We see Mash training in the woods, lifting the weight like it's nothing, and completing his workout in 5 minutes. He heads back home, but just as he is about to open the door, he hears Brad as he explains that magic has flourished, because they have gotten rid of all the people who can't use magic, calling it a necessary sacrifice for a better world. Brad pushes Bernadette, telling him that sheltering the unmarked is a serious offense, but Bernadette refuses to tell him about his son's whereabouts. In a flashback, we learn that Bernadette has always been treated as a failure in everything that he does. This goes on until adulthood, and he thinks about taking his own life, when suddenly, he hears a baby Mash crying. He realizes that the baby was abandoned because he had no mark, thinking that they are both unwanted by society, so he decides to raise the baby as his own. Back in the present, Bernadette screams at Mash to run, so Brad starts beating him up, but just as he is about to finish him off, Mash bursts through the door, hitting one of the officers, and blowing him away. Terry goes to him, but Mash rips his uniform off, slapping him repeatedly until he falls to the ground. Mash reveals that he didn't run because Bernadette is his only family, but Brad laughs at him, thinking that he has no chance because he can't use magic. He attacks Mash with the spell he used to drive away a dragon, but Mash easily deflects it with one hand, and Brad can't believe his eyes. He follows up with an even stronger spell, but Mash slaps it away, causing it to explode elsewhere. Terry continues to attack Mash with his magic, while Mash deflects his attacks, and it looks like he's having fun. He takes his father's wand, while Brad defends himself with a barrier, thinking Mash is about to use magic, but Mash throws the wand at Brad, breaking his barrier and causing him to fall to his knees. Mash threatens to kill him the next time he threatens his family, but Brad proposes a deal where Mash will enroll in a magic academy and become a divine visionary so that society will accept him, saying that he will back Mash up because he wants the reward that comes with it. He claims that if they don't accept his deal, they'll be hunted down for the rest of their lives, so Mash agrees to the deal. Mash goes to the prestigious Easton Magic Academy with a fake mark on his face, where he will take the entrance exam that is notoriously difficult, with a passing rate of less than 3%. A man named Lucci looks at the applicants gathered on the field, recognizing some of their faces, when he suddenly hears a loud noise, and he sees Mash lifting weights like it's paper, making him confused because that is not the place for him to work out. Lucci calms himself down, looking at the field again, where he sees Mash reading a fitness book while doing the invisible chair, and he even notices Brad and Bernadette behind him, who are trying to keep an eye on Mash. Lucci appears with style, announcing that he will oversee the exam. The students are stunned, because they recognize him as an extremely gifted mage. Lucci is flattered, but Mash comments on his unnecessarily flashy entrance, making Lucci want to kill him.
Great. The new GoDaddy Arrow has AI marketing tools to help small businesses easily reach thousands of customers. It writes sweet social ads and email marketing. It even analyzes the results to boost business. I better start up in my game with some sweet new moves. Back in the disco, move so cool, so slick like Crisco. Bet you ain't did it like this though. Brand new chain, new clothes, and this road.
Lucci announces that the first exam is about to begin, ordering everyone to take a seat, as he uses a spell to prepare the venue for everyone, making everyone amazed. But Mash is not impressed, telling him that he could have just taken them to a room where everything was already prepared, and this makes Lucci hate him even more. The exam begins, as the applicants check their papers, but the questions move around the page, making it difficult to read. We learn that Lucci enchanted the papers with magic, so they need to dispel the magic to pass the test. Brad and Bernadette think Mash is doomed, but Mash orders the words to stop moving around, as he crushes his pen, causing the words to arrange themselves out of fear. He finishes the test early, and Lucci is surprised to see that everything is so perfectly aligned. Mash continues to use his superhuman abilities to pass the other parts of the exam, making everyone surprised, while Lucci thinks of a way to eliminate him. Lucci causes a maze to appear from the ground, giving the examinees 30 minutes to reach the goal. A girl named Lemon approaches Mash, wanting to tag along with him, so they start walking together, but she keeps on falling for the traps, and Mash realizes that she is useless. While his back is turned, she uses a spell to restrain him with cuffs, telling him that there is a reason why she needs to keep him away from the goal. But Mash easily breaks free and dashes off, because he also has his reasons to pass the test. After he leaves, a creature approaches Lemon, asking her a riddle, but she fails to answer it, so it attacks her. But Mash punches the creature, knocking it out with a single punch. Lemon wonders why he saved her, and Mash explains that they must be there for a similar reason, so he feels sorry for her. She is worried that they won't be able to complete the maze in time, but Mash has a plan. Meanwhile, Lucci is confident that Mash is going to fail, but the ground suddenly starts shaking as they hear loud noises. The wall breaks as Mash joins them, and we learn that he just destroyed the maze to create a path. The other successful examinees call him a cheater, telling him to go home, but Lemon tells them that it wasn't Mash's fault, confessing that Lucci promised to get her into the school if she stopped Mash. Lucci admits to this, saying that he doesn't like Mash, as he unleashes his magical powers. He tells them that he will fail Mash, and Lemon, asking them if they want to challenge his decision. But Mash crushes Lucci's wand with his fist, as he tells the professor that he has gone too far. At that moment, the headmaster Robert arrives, informing them that the final interview is about to begin, and that he will now be acting as the examiner. Mash is the first applicant to be interviewed, so he is taken to a room where he is surrounded by school officials. He is asked a few questions, and the officials don't seem to like his answers. However, the headmaster finds him interesting, asking him why he saved the girl in the maze even though he didn't have enough time left. Mash tells him that he had a feeling that he would regret not saving her, and Wahlberg realizes that Mash is the type to act before thinking, explaining that there are creatures stronger than him, and he wonders if Mash would act that way if faced with such a creature. Wahlberg uses his magic to summon a large creature that threatens to harm a doll, which contains the soul of the person that is dearest to Mash, who is obviously burned dead. Mash tries to stop it by punching it, but it does nothing, and his hand starts bleeding. The school officials are surprised when he uses his hands to stop the blade from reaching the doll. He knows that the creature will eventually disappear, intending to outlast it. Wahlberg realizes that Mash is someone who can protect the weak and regulate the strong, so he recalls the creature and lights up the place, revealing that Mash was just being tested, as he welcomes him to the Easton Magic Academy. Later on, we see them in class, where they learn the lock opening spell, which is considered to be basic. The teacher demonstrates it, but Mash just uses his hands to destroy the lock, making the teacher angry because he didn't even use magic. Mash explains that he is not good with magic, while the boy next to him, Finn, starts seeing him as a troublemaker. After class, Finn looks for his dorm, hoping Mash is not going to be his roommate. He finds his room, but the door is missing, and he sees Mash holding onto it, making him realize that they are going to be sharing the room. They get to know each other, and Finn starts to think that Mash is just a normal guy, but he suddenly introduces Finn to his muscles, making him think he is a weirdo. Mash asks Finn if he can borrow his broom for the next class, since he brought a giant plant root instead, Thinking it was a broom, Finn allows it, and the next day, the teacher trains them to fly with the broom. Mash tries to do it, but the broom won't respond to him, so he gets ridiculed by a student, saying that he's slowing the class down. But Mash stops his foot and causes the broom to fly into his hand. The student calls him a cheater, saying he didn't use magic, as the teacher announces a time trial to see how fast the students can fly with their brooms. The guy challenges Mash to a race, but the loser must obey the winner until they graduate. Mash accepts the challenge, so they prepare to race. The instructor doubts Mash and even ride his broom. She begins the race anyway, and Mash ends up winning instantly, setting a new world record with his speed. Everyone is confused, because they didn't even see Mash move. Finn saw Mash throw the broom forward, and jump towards it, allowing him to ride it while it was in midair. The student accuses Mash of cheating, and he takes pity on him, so he drops the bet. The guy continues to run his mouth, but it gets stitched shut as a student named Cavill makes his entrance. He apologizes on his friend's behalf, but everyone knows that Cavill is a troublemaker, so they are worried about Mash. Thinking he has just become a target, Cavill introduces himself to Mash, but Mash mishears his name as Cavill, making everyone fall silent. Cavill prepares to cast a spell, but the teacher interrupts, reminding them that they are in the middle of class. So Cavill tells him to meet him after class, and he leaves the scene.
Are you older than 18? We're looking for motivated people to take online cybersecurity classes. If you're looking to kickstart your educational journey today, click below to request more info about earning your online degree.
Make their way back to their room, Finn reveals that Cavill is the son of a high-ranking member at the Bureau of Magic. He adds that Mash will get expelled if he messes with Cavill, since his family has close ties with the vice principal, and Finn has actually seen students suffer because of Cavill, so he understands why everyone is scared of him. Mash starts baking cream puffs on his own, enjoying the experience, while Cavill is waiting for him at the field, and becomes upset that Mash isn't showing up. The next day, Mash takes out his book for his next class, but it's in terrible condition. Cavill approaches him, asking him why he didn't show up, and Mash apologizes, saying he was too busy making cream puffs, which seems to annoy Cavill. Cavill asks him if he wants to become the Divine Visionary, claiming that he can help Mash achieve his goal by using his connection with the vice principal if Mash will follow his orders. Mash immediately agrees to this, and he turns into Cavill's lapdog, following his every order as part of the deal. Mash prepares for his next class, but he realizes that his book about the subject is also in bad shape. Finn reluctantly agrees to share his book, and Mash thinks he is lucky to have a friend like Finn. Mash gives Cavill some water, but he pours it on the floor, ordering Mash to clean it up. As Mash cleans the floor, it's revealed that Cavill was ordering Finn to tamper with Mash's books, but he is getting bored, so he wants Finn to burn Mash's clothes. Finn refuses to obey, so Cavill uses his magic to bring Finn to his knees and beat him up. After some time, Mash arrives at the scene, asking Cavill what he's doing. Cavill claims he just wants to get an apology from Finn, who starts crying as he confesses that he ruined Mash's books under Cavill's orders, apologizing for his actions. Cavill asks Mash if he wants to have dinner with the vice principal, but Mash goes to him and bashes his head against the floor, instantly knocking him out. Finn tells Mash that he is going to get expelled, making him realize that he is in trouble. The vice principal, Farman, suddenly arrives, revealing that Cavill's father entrusted him to look after his son. Farman witnessed the entire incident, but he calls it a violent attack against Cavill, so he is going to hold a school conference to discuss what they just did. He mentions that their status is different from Cavill, so he deserves special treatment, even calling them idiots. As he continues to run his mouth, Mash rushes over to him, landing a knee strike on his face, while the others watch in horror. Mash explains that since Farman isn't open to reason, it would make sense to beat him up, since he is already in trouble anyway. Farman threatens to expel him as he tries to cast a spell, but Mash slaps dirt on his face. He digs a hole in the ground, slamming Farman into the hole, and he proceeds to cover it up. Farman warns Mash that he won't get away with this, but Mash threatens to bury him alive. After that, he is summoned by the headmaster, who tells him that he just received a notice from the Bureau of Magic to have him expelled. We learn that the Bureau of Magic is the highest legal authority in the land, and the Divine Visionaries produced by the Academy are at its core. He reminds Mash about Cavill's status, but he burns the notice because he doesn't want good people to be put at a disadvantage. Wahlberg rants about the current status of the world, since it only serves the elites. He thinks that it needs more people like Mash, who are willing to sacrifice themselves to do the right thing, and he even wants Mash to become a divine visionary someday. Mash mentions how he plans to become one, so the headmaster explains the way to become one, but Mash can't handle all the information. So Wahlberg decides to keep it simple, telling him that he just needs to earn high marks and acquire as many coins as possible. He assures Mash that he will take care of the bureau and the vice principal, and Mash takes his leave. The next day, the captain of the Duello team, Tom, invites him to represent their dorm in a game, which is basically like Quidditch from Harry Potter. Mash says that he can't ride a broom, but Tom doesn't believe him, dragging him into the team. During the match, the enemy grabs possession of the ball, and Mash is still on the ground, as he reiterates that he can't ride a broom. The crowd thinks that he isn't even trying, so they jeer at him, throwing things at him. His team is getting wrecked, and Tom goes to him, explaining the rules of the game. We learn that they need to pass the ball through the enemy's ring to earn points, and the use of magic is forbidden, since the game is all about broom technique. Tom is about to get back to the game, when the enemy captain intentionally bumps into him, causing him to fall. Mash checks up on him, and Tom seems to have broken some bones, asking the enemy captain about his sense of sportsmanship. But the enemy captain doesn't care, revealing that winning is all that matters to him. Before getting back into the game, Tom knows that their team is about to lose, but he tells Mash that winning isn't everything, and that giving one's best is even more important. They are 50 points behind, making the enemy captain think that they are about to win, but they seem to have